Hi there. So it's been a long time coming, but this is the first class that I'm able to share with you guys from the online course. We were hoping to get the course done by the start of May, and I have to apologize because it's just been a bigger job than we anticipated. It's taken longer than we anticipated. And I've included more in it than I had originally planned as well. It's one of those things when I'm trying to condense so much information into like a little sample plate for you guys, so you can get a taste of the training, so you can have lots of ideas to start playing with between now and when we get to meet here in Sri Lanka. That it was hard to condense as much as I had planned, so it's going to be a little bit bigger, which is great. Also, the curse of being a bit of a perfectionist snuck in as well. And once I had done the writing, which ended up being quite a lot, I think it was 13 or 14,000 words or something for the ebook, and then then I spent a week reviewing it and improving it, and now I've sent it off to my editor to help make it really good. So anyway, it's still coming. We're getting really close, but now we have the kind of tricky bit of putting it all together. I've got only a couple more classes to finish filming. All the lectures are done and edited. The content is with the editor. We've got new photos that we put in that's with an editor as well. But that should all be coming together in the next few days, and then hopefully a week or so to polish it off and go through the whole thing again, and then chuck it online. And that's a challenging thing as well, because we've never put an online course together as a package online before, so that's an interesting experience as well. That's been a huge job for Jane the past week. We actually had to build a new website for that as well. Anyway, I'm doing that thing where I talk too much. What's this class? Well, I've decided to share with you a longer class from the middle of the course. Originally, I was going to share with you just a kind of quick 20-minute class, but I thought better to give you something more to practice with, that you can repeat, that you can do a few times and get something different from it each time you do. But because it's from the middle of the course, there's less explanation. So I thought I'd just give you a little bit here now. When you're doing this kind of practice, it's going to be quite different to what you're used to, I imagine, unless you've been doing synergy yoga and this kind of stuff. There is less of a focus on alignment and action, and more a focus on creating space and making sure that you've got the right amount of mobility through your joints. So I'll be saying things like, spread the fingers, but make sure they can move. This kind of stuff as we do the starting sequence. Then in the middle part, I kind of go a little bit Qigong, a little bit Taoist yoga rather than traditional yoga. So I don't think in this class, from memory, there's any sun salutations or any traditional poses. It's spinal joint movements, spinal movements, this kind of thing to start, and then we go into these kinds of movements. Now, in that stuff, you can do it a lot more than I'm doing and a lot less. I'd encourage you, the first few times you try it, do less so that you don't hurt yourself. And keep in mind one part of the body that is vulnerable, and that is the lower back. So never try and, if you're going from this kind of rounded spine movement to the opposite of that, don't go into the kind of full lift your tailbone up, pull your shoulders back and down movement, because that will hurt your back. Rather, do the first bit and then just kind of leave the lower back long, and then keep going lower back long. But we'll cover that a little bit at the start of the class. I've decided not to include music, just because it's a little bit distracting and it's hard to get all the levels right and everything. And the thing is, my favorite song might be your least favorite song. So what I would encourage you to do is put some music on, please, and put on your favorite music. Put on something that's fun, that's like a little bit upbeat. It's not a serious practice. This is a fun explorative practice. I hope you enjoy, and I hope this is enough to tie you over between now and when we finally get the course all packaged perfectly, put together and available for you to start, hopefully within a week or two max. So thanks for your patience, thanks for your time. I hope you enjoy the class, and I'll see you really soon. Start with a little bit of a dance, and then find your way into the middle of your mat. Try and keep yourself facing me the whole time, or facing the screen. Whenever I twist, or whenever you twist or side bend or whatever, just eyes forward. So we start with a modified Tadasana, and that is weight in the front of the feet, knees bent, sitting bones down and forward, arms forward, shoulders slightly forward and down. I'm just showing you some exaggerated movements to remind you to stay relaxed. So making sure first the fingers can move, but they're long. The shoulders are active, but they could roll. The head and neck can move like this. The hips can do these little circles. And finally, that the belly can breathe. So I'm going to do a movement with my belly to show you that you should check that the belly is able to breathe. Now, I'm exaggerating these movements. You can do them all much, much smaller than what I'm doing. But whenever you see that, you're going to be following my visual instructions a fair bit, as well as my verbal instructions. So sitting bones down and forward, shoulders forward and down slightly, arms by your side, belly can breathe, fingers can move, shoulders can move. The head and neck is free. So we're looking for something in yoga that's called Stiram Sukham Asanam, the balance between effort and ease. And the hips can do this little circle. And you need an element of Stiram Sukham Asanam in every pose, from seated all the way to handstand, all the way to Shavasana. So we're just using these kind of simple cues through the body to check. Okay, this is the first position from the spinal movements sequence. Modified Tadasana, weight forward, knees bent, sit bones down and forward, arms forward, shoulders forward and down. And that's because the armpits always should go in the direction of the armpits. Then we go through our little checklist of, I'm active, we know that, because my arms are forward, because my knees are bent, I'm forced to be active, but can I find the right amount of freedom in my joints? And if we can find this balance, then we can find yoga, not just exercise. Again, I'm exaggerating, you don't have to do nearly as much as me. Good. So this was the first position, spinal compression. Then we lift the shoulders, keep the lower back really long, the knees still bent, then the arms through center and up. Shoulders are forward and up when the arms are lifted. If this is really weird cueing for you, just trust me and do it. Stay relaxed in the neck, but shoulders forward and up. And then we'll go through our checklist again. Fingers can move, shoulders can move. I said a minute ago, the shoulders always go in the direction of the armpits. So at the moment, the armpits are facing forward and trying to go up, so the shoulders will go forward and up. Now, I just need to recognize now this might be really different to what you have done in the past. That might be, in fact, the opposite to the cues you've heard. Again, there's many anatomical, physiological reasons for that, but for now, you're just going to have to trust me. Okay, double check the hips can move and the belly can breathe. So that's the second position, spinal tractioning. Then we'll roll the shoulders forward, bring the sitting bones down and forward and round the spine. Throat forward, chin up. So now we're in spinal flexion, which is the third spinal movement, the third position of the spine. And it looks a little bit like a turtle or a little bit like a Quasimodo shape. Good. Make sure the fingers can move. There's internal rotation through the whole shoulder girdle. That creates the shoulders pushing forward, called protraction. That gets the top of the spine rounded, but you also need to consciously bend knees, bring sitting bones down and forward. There's a lot going on, but once you find it, then check. Fingers, shoulders, head and neck, pelvis. And can you breathe? Good. Next spinal movement is extension. So push sitting bones down, pubic bone forward, and now keep the back of the body long while extending the front of the body long as well. You'll roll the shoulders out, so external rotation, pull the fingers back and down towards you, palms open. So I'm just showing you, really exaggerate sitting bones. This whole sequence, our knees are going to be bent, and this is going to create space through the chest, through the belly, through the abdomen, but without, as you can notice, there's no back bend in the lower back at all. It's still really, really long. We can go through our checklist again. Remember, I'm doing an exaggerated movement. You can do a much smaller one. Fingers, shoulders, head and neck. Check that the pelvis can move in a moment. The weight's still forward, the knees still bent. The belly's still able to breathe, which means like a conscious expansion of the belly. And there's a bit of action there as well, but it's not like you're trying to draw the belly into the spine or anything like that. So this is the fourth movement finishing now. Lift the shoulders, come back into the second movement where the arms lift, spinal tractioning, shoulders forward and up, sitting bones down and forward like you're extending your spine. Round the spine, and now we'll lengthen the left side, leaving knees bent, sitting bones down and forward. Just separate the elbows for a moment, but let the left shoulder forward and up, right shoulder down. If you feel comfortable, extend the arms. Good. For now, keeping it really simple, this is just an example of lateral flexion or of side bending in the spine isolated. So all it is side bending. It's like what you have to do in side angle or in triangle pose or many times through the practice. Going through your checklist again if you feel comfortable, or just staying calm, relaxed, in control, and separating your shoulders. Double check the belly can breathe without over breathing. So when I do this, don't take a big breath into the belly, just check. Notice if there's tension, if there is, release it. Good. Right shoulder forward and up. Come back to our lengthened position in the spine, spinal tractioning, and then bring the arms down. We'll come into the opposite side. So lengthen right side of spine while lower back is still lengthened. You're basically trying to do a forward fold in the lumbar spine. Separate elbows, separate shoulders, and option to separate arms. It's not just a side bend, it's actually a little bit of a forward fold. If you don't add the element of a little bit of a forward fold, you will inevitably pinch your back, especially when you're learning. Eventually you add the element of a backward bend, but that's at a later stage. And that's in every pose, every standing pose, for example. Going through our checklist, finishing with the hip movement and the belly movement. So you can follow my verbal cues, my visual cues, and even better, a combination of both. Good. Lift left shoulder forward and up. So now we're tractioning, we're lengthening the spine, creating space like your sitting bones had weights attached to them and like your arms are being pulled out of their sockets a little bit. We'll come back to our slightly rounded position. Think you're holding a beach ball. Twist to the right, sitting bones still down. If this feels good, your option is to press your pubic bone forward, extend the arms away. I've just showed you there to keep your eyes forward. Lift your left ear slightly, bring your chin in. That will help protect your neck. Good. So you're pressing the arms away, pressing the shoulders away, and that will help twist the spine, and your pelvis is not turning so much to the right, it's more the shoulders. The pelvis is actually supposed to be facing more forward even than I'm doing here. Check the fingers, the shoulders, the head and neck are all free. So this is a checklist, and there's actually extra things we can add to this checklist, like make sure you haven't grimaced in your face, make sure your eyes are free, make sure you can still blink, you can still salivate or move the tongue around in the mouth. Good. To come back, bring the right arm back. Good. Keep the back long, low, roll up a little bit, round a little bit like you're holding a beach ball, knees bent, twist to the left. You can stay here, but if it feels great, press the pubic bone forward, lengthen the front of the spine, and extend the arms out and away. So if you're going to look forward, which I recommend you do, your right ear will lift, your chin will come in a little bit, and then you press the palms away from the shoulders. The shoulders are pressing away and leading the spine. It's an associated movement. By moving the shoulders, it helps lead the spine. And this is, again, why do we do this? Well, if we weren't doing these little check-in movements, as we were doing this pose, we might find that we get really, really tense, and we don't want to get really, really tense. Because then, by holding the poses for a period of time, we'd come out feeling worse than we came in. We don't want that. Good. Check your belly can breathe. And then the left arm will reach a little bit further, and then come back to center. Good. And then relax. Come back to your first position, a modified Tadasana. Belly soft, sitting bones down and forward. Fingers, shoulders, neck, pelvis, belly are all free to move. Release the arms down. Lift the shoulders, lift the arms. A little bit faster this time. Spinal tractioning, sitting bones down and forward. Fingers, shoulders, neck, pelvis, belly. Good. Arms down, roll shoulders in, but bring your pubic bone forward so that your sternum and pubic bone are in one line. You haven't leaned forward. It's just a roundness through the spine. It's an isolated movement. Check that you are firm but calm. Push pubic bone forward, lengthen back and front, roll shoulders out. Movement starts from the core and ends at the fingers. You can see I'm exaggerating lower back long there. The fingernails pull back in towards the body. Fingers, shoulders, head, neck, pelvis and belly are all free to move whenever you want them to move. But at the same time, they're long and strong, aren't they? Look at the shape. Good. Round the spine, lift the shoulders, the lower back really long. When you round the spine, you don't lean forward. You're still staying stuck on top of the hips. Arms up. Good. Bring the arms down, round the spine slightly, particularly the lower back. Left elbow lifts. And then left elbow up, right elbow down, and then extend the arms out in line. Good. So there's a little flexion or roundness in the lower back, and then extension through the shoulder girdle, which leads the top of the spine into the side bend. Good. Right shoulder forward and up, lift the arm up, bring the arms down. This is just to lead beautifully into the second side, right elbow up, left elbow down. Extend arms away from shoulders. Shoulders are leading the spine, right shoulder forward and up, left shoulder down, sitting bones forward and down. Or if this is too much words for you, just watch and follow. Left shoulder forward and up. Belly needs to stay soft. When the arms lift, it's hard to keep the belly soft. Now, pretend you're holding a beach ball. Pubic bone lifts a little, twist to right. Push the pubic bone away, extend the arms. Good. It's a tricky one, this one, I must admit, to get and to make it feel good, but when you get it feeling good, it's sensational, and it actually turns into revolved, not pyramid, revolved half moon. Good. Come back to center, twist towards the left. Push pubic bone to lead the arms. Press the arms to lead the spine. They're working in synergy with each other. One leads the other, but there's kind of a relationship going on there. Good. Left arm back to center. Lift up. Round. Relax back into our starting position. Having the arms forward just sets the shoulders much, much better. Bending the knees sets the lower back much better. And if you want, you can practice pushing out the belly here. Shoulders up, arms up. Bend the knees, descend the tailbone, the sit bones. Good, round the spine. Fingers back. Pubic bone forward. Push pubic bone forward, now lengthen front of the spine, roll shoulders and fingers out. Good. Bring the lower back backwards in space, round the spine, shoulders up, arms up. Forward and down with the arms, round the spine, left elbow lifts, right elbow down. Extend the arms away from shoulders. Keep remembering, lengthen lower back, make sure the belly can breathe. Right elbow lifts, right arm lifts, matches the left. Arms forward, left shoulder lifts, left elbow lifts, extend the arms away from the shoulders, lower back stays long, belly stays free to breathe. Left elbow lifts, come back to center, both arms meet. Bring the arms down, round lower back. Good. Prepare like you were holding a beach ball, twist to the right. Extend if you feel comfortable, pubic bone, arms. Good. Right arm comes back into center. Round. Just a little. Twist to left. Push pubic bone. Extend out through the arms. Fingers, head and neck. Everything's free. Left arm comes back. And release and relax it. Good. Sitting bones down and forward, starting position. Good. This time, working with the hips a bit. So we'll bring the weight forward, completely in the front of the feet, and the option is to bend the knees. Now it's an option, you don't have to do it, but it can feel really, really nice if you like a challenge. You have to have the knees bent with the weight in the toes, otherwise you risk damaging the knee. Bringing the weight in the toes turns on the muscles at the back of the knee. Good. We're working through our checklist again. If you haven't already started, make sure your fingers, your shoulders, your head and neck, your pelvis and your belly are all free to move, not relaxed completely, but free to move. Good. Bring the shoulders up, elbows up, arms up. Bend the knees more this time. Good. Expand the belly. Weight forward into the front of the feet. Heels lifting just a little bit. And again, option to bend the knees a little bit or a lot. It actually looks like an Ashtanga style chair pose if you take it a bit further than I am. But I wouldn't encourage you to take it further than this. It's already enough of a challenge. But by adding the effort of the legs while you're pulling the arms up, this really can lengthen the spine. It's incredibly therapeutic for the spine. Check that everything is free, particularly that the belly can breathe. Bring the arms down, roll the shoulders in. Again, pubic bone forward, same option with the legs. So with only if your pelvis is directly under your sternum, you can check that you haven't leaned forward. Your option is weight forward in the front of the feet, bend the knees. Work through your checklist, finishing with the pelvis and that the belly can breathe. Now, are you making a funny face by squishing up your face? If you are, relax it. Make sure the tongue is free, the eyes are free, and the nostrils are not flared. Good. Push your pubic bone, I'm a bit ahead of myself, pubic bone forward, belly expands, but the tailbone or the sitting bones are still descending. So now the front of the spine is long and the back of the spine is also long. With the sitting bones coming towards the back of the knees, the weight is forward and the knees can bend a little bit or a lot. It is possible to bend them a lot more than I'm demonstrating here, but I think this level is best if this practice is a little bit new to you. In fact, for me in the morning, the first time I do it, I always do it only this far. This is part of my regular practice, in case you're wondering. I do this almost every day. a variation anyway. Good. Pull the lower back backwards in space. Good. Come back to neutral, shoulders up, arms up, knees bend a little bit. Good. Come down, left side will extend, left elbow lifts, left arm lifts. This time lean into your left leg, turn your right leg in and stay on your toe tip, or you can lift the right leg off the floor completely. To start, just stay on your toe tip. You can take this a lot further in the side bend towards the right as well if you wish. I'm just doing a kind of in-between variation to keep things safe if you're following visually. Go through your checklist: fingers, shoulders, head and neck, hips, and the belly can breathe. Good. Come back to center, right shoulder up, right arm up. This tractions the spine. Round the spine slightly. This prepares the lower back. Right elbow up. Right, lean into the right leg. If you come onto the toe tip, turn the left leg in. Hopefully release the glute and activate the hamstring a little bit. Extend the arms and fingers now as well. Good. Going through our checklist of calm but firm. Fingers, shoulders, head and neck. Remember, I'm exaggerating. You can do a lot less than me as far as movement goes. Pelvis, and of course the belly can breathe. That means that you're not over tense in the abdomen. That means there's muscles that you would otherwise, if you couldn't breathe in the abdomen, you have unnecessary tension. Come back to center, both shoulders up, both arms up, round. Come back to neutral. Twist towards the right. Push pubic bone, extend the arms. Now here's the option. So now you can try and twist the legs to the right as well, like that. And notice that now the pelvis is facing further towards the right, and then therefore the body is facing further towards the right as well. So therefore the legs are twisting and the spine is twisting, but we started with the spine first because that's what needs to lead the movements. Going through our checklist here: fingers, shoulders, neck, pelvis, and the belly. Bring the right arm back. And relax. Good. Twist to the left, sitting bones down. Press pubic bone forward, extend the arms wide. So the arms are reaching out to lead the spine. Now twist the legs towards the left as well. So the whole body moves and shifts. Fingers can move. Shoulders, head and neck, pelvis and belly. You've got to think about the belly's trying to twist to the left. Think about the belly button, not tense, but push it out. Try and twist the belly button to the left. Let that lead the pubic bone, and the legs are both trying to spiral to the left as well. But obviously there's enough relaxation there that you can do these small movements if you need as well. Good. Left hand back towards the center. Round a little, relax a little, and come back to our starting position. Sitting bones down and forward, shoulders down and forward. Good. Release the arms down. Sitting bones down and forward. Just relax here for a few moments in a kind of standing shavasana. Again, just checking the fingers, the shoulders, the hips, the belly. Arms back forward, knees slightly bent. They don't have to be as bent as me, I'm exaggerating. Shoulders up, arms up. Good. Bend the knees a little bit or a lot. Round the spine, pubic bone underneath the sternum. Roll shoulders in, fingers back. Bend the knees a little or a lot. Remember, weight needs to be forward. Lengthen front of spine, descend sitting bones down and forward. Bend the knees a little or a lot. Moving a little bit faster, obviously, this time. Round the spine, shoulders up, elbows, arms up. Round, left side will extend. Weight will transfer onto the left leg. So weight on left leg, right leg turns in, arms extend away from the shoulders, both arms up towards the sky. Round lower back, right side extends, lean on right leg, left leg turns in, extend shoulders and arms away from the spine, left arm up, both arms up, round spine, like a beach ball with the sitting bones, with the knees bent, twist to the right, extend the arms, good, twist the knees. So this is, again, we're just doing the same thing a little faster. Right arm comes back to the center, lift shoulders and then relax. Twist the spine to the left with a round spine, lengthen the front of the spine to match, and then twist from the pelvis. Good. It's a beautiful feeling when you get it right, but the first few times it can be a little bit complicated, a little bit awkward. Release the arms down. Standing Tadasana. Belly soft, sitting bones forward and down. Release the arms. And we're just going to do a little bit now of the Qigong movement I spoke about. So see if you can follow this movement. Palms face up, palms face forward, palms face down, in towards the body. So the palms are always leading the movement, and you're just kind of moving from the Qigong Tadasana to normal Tadasana, hands forward and down. Now this movement is not specific. It could be different. It doesn't really matter so much. Any of these movements with the hands that lead the spine and vice versa are fantastic for you. They're great at getting circulation happening. They're great as a mindfulness exercise. They're great physical therapy for the shoulders, the wrists and everything else. So what we're going to do with this is a little bit or a lot. Now in the course we talk about leading with the core. You don't have to do that here. You can just move the arms. But if you're feeling comfortable, think about the belly button and the pubic bone moving before the arms move. Okay, some variations. Lean on the right leg, take the feet a little bit wider, and do the same thing with the arms more or less. Now, there's a temptation here to arch into the lower back. Don't. Go from round to straight. To do that, you need to think sitting bones. Sitting bones are going down, sitting bones are going down, sitting bones are going down, sitting bones are going down. They never go up. Good. One in the center. You can be doing, remember, more or less than me. I would encourage less to start, and when you go through this the second or the third time, feel free to do more. The arms don't have to go all the way up. They can do that first thing that they started with, where they're just going through the body. And this movement where you can lean all the way onto the left leg and the right leg, or you can just stay in the middle, the weight in the middle. But try and keep it kind of meditative and smooth and calm. And although I'm not doing fingers can move, shoulders can move, head can move, pelvis can move, think about that through this as well. Make sure there's the potential for movement through your whole body. Good. One in the center. Remember, more or less than me. Leaning on the right leg, turning the left leg out and stepping it back. A little bit like you're doing Warrior One, but really don't worry about alignment as long as nothing hurts. Try and keep everything slightly bent, and then you're exaggerating the bend. So doing the same movement now over the front leg in a kind of warrior position with the legs. This can be either great therapy for the lower back, or it can be a little bit detrimental if you push too far. So be really gentle. Now turn the leg in. Now you're doing like a lunge position. Same movement. Now I'm leaning quite far forward. Please don't do that if you're new to this. That would be your second or third run through. Notice the movement's not coming from the pelvis, it's coming from the spine. Pelvis is staying put, but you can do a lot less than me and still get a lot of benefit from this. Turns into warrior, turns into high lunge, as you can see there, shoulders forward and up. Fingers can move, shoulders can move, head and neck is free, pelvis is free, and the belly can breathe. From high lunge, lean forward, bring the foot back in. And now take the left foot forward and turn it out slightly. So this one's really interesting, particularly for the low back, because you can get this incredible opening of the facet joints, which are the little joints to the sides of the spine. But you need to be, again, very careful if you've had any lower back injuries or issues. But please don't arch here, because then you're going to hurt yourself. Now turn the back leg out, the left leg out, and bring it behind you. Again, more or less than me, less is preferred. And this is a preparation for Garudasana, or for eagle pose. Meaning it's all the same spinal actions, joint actions, movements, strengthening, everything else, but obviously it doesn't look exactly the same unless we do the pose, which we don't need to do. Get the same benefits without it. You've got to think, as I mentioned earlier, you've got to think lower back, otherwise all this stuff becomes crunch town. Exactly. So every time I do that little thing, remind yourself. So it's again, the right leg is back, turn slightly out. Don't worry about the alignment specifically, and now you're working over the left leg with this same movement, more or less than me. More than me, I think, would be a bit extreme. Turn the back leg in, and now you're working with the lunge shape in the spine. This is safer, so you can go further if it feels good, but again, it's never a back bend, not in this practice. The back bend comes right at the end, and we don't get up to that in this practice. Wow, the birds are crazy, huh? So coming into high lunge from here, so pause for a moment, shoulders forward and up, make sure the fingers can move, shoulders are free to move, the head and the neck is free to move, the pelvis is free, to move, and most importantly that the belly can breathe. If you've got all of those elements happening, you're in a really good place. Lean forward, come back to neutral, and step your right foot forward and out, and now we're doing the lean into the right leg. I was mentioning before that it can be really therapeutic on the lower back. That's particularly true if you can lean heavily onto one leg and the other, and as you lean onto one leg, the other leg becomes a weight, and it can traction the spine. So as you lean into left leg, right leg can completely relax. As you lean into right leg, left leg can completely relax. I can't tell you how much these movements, this kind of Qigong-inspired movements, changed my practice. Just completely changed the way that I practice. Turn the right leg out and bring it behind you. Now, I'm exaggerating this one with quite a lot of movement. Please don't do as much movement unless this is familiar to you and nothing is hurting. You might notice at this point, because I've been doing this arm movement for a while now, your neck and your shoulder muscles might be getting a bit tense. That means you're holding them on the whole time. You need to relax them here. Only tense them when the arms lift. Just showing you how much smaller the movements can be. Please keep working with me. And see if this feels nice as well. Just small little movements, rather than the big exaggerated ones we did a moment ago. The whole spine moving. Can you get the feeling like before, but in a kind of mini variation, like your grandma could do it and she'd still be really happy and healthy? Build it up a little bit if you want, or stay small. I'm going to show you some more extreme variations of this movement. It's good eventually to learn how to do this fast as well, but please don't try and do that straight away, and please don't go as deep as this straight away unless you're feeling super confident. You can include the head movement as well, but again, this is only when you're like a ninja. You're going ninja mode, full ninja mode. All the different variations. The amount this can open up the back is incredible. Good. Come back to your standing Tadasana. Shoulders forward down, sitting bones down and forward. The side bend. So side bend towards the right means left side extends, right side shortens. Now twist to the left. So it's really, really important you twist the spine to the left, and then side bend to the left, which means your right side extends, your left side shortens. Twist now to the right, and now side bend to the right. Left side expands, right side shortens. Side twist to the left, side bend to the left. And this is the bomb.com. This is spinal rotation or axial rotation and lateral flexion or side bending combined to make a circle. So it's a bit jerky as we start the practice, but imagine the palms are always facing each other, and it's like you were holding a giant beach ball, or if you're that way inclined, you know, you're holding a big thing of prana, of chi, of something. And now make it smooth. Think about, as the arms move, what leads the arms? The belly button, because the core has to move first. Doesn't mean the core is tense. So belly moves to right, now belly moves to left. Now belly moves to right, so it starts before the arms start. If you get comfortable with it, you can do more, or you can stay doing a really small movement. I exaggerate a little bit to make it obvious. As the belly starts to really move, the weight can start to move in the feet like this. As you move to the left, the weight can transfer to the left foot. The right, the weight can transfer to the right foot. But it's more complex than that if you'd like. First the toes, then the heel. So you go weight on right toes, weight on right heel, weight on left toes, weight on left heel, weight on right toes, weight on... I know that sounds ridiculous, but see if you can make it happen. And then there's a figure eight happening through the pelvis and through the pubic bone. Okay, try and make the movement smaller. Doesn't mean boring or less intense, but just a smaller movement. I'm getting a little bit dancey here. You see, when I'm practicing, I'm listening to crazy music. You know, sometimes it's psytrance, sometimes it's hip hop, sometimes whatever. It's whatever I'm into that morning, right? You should be doing the same thing. Should be. It gets really nice to do the same thing. So you can kind of follow the music a bit with your movements. You don't have to follow me exactly. You know, if you're going you match with the music like that. Okay, back to our standing Tadasana. Belly relaxed, sitting bones down and forward. I'm trying to find space through the back and the front of the body, not just the front of the body. And can you do that with the belly relaxed? It will make you feel better, and it will make your physiology love you a little bit more. You might notice that my position in my belly looks a bit funny. For some of you, it looks like I'm pushing my belly out. That's because I am. It feels nice. You don't need your core to be
super strong and overactive in this moment in time. Fingers are free, shoulders are free, head and neck is free, pelvis is free. I'm exaggerating. You can exaggerate if you'd like, or you can do less. Remember, less is really good. Less is a great option sometimes. Do what matches your energy levels, but notice if it's a tendency to always be lethargic or always do too much. Really important to check that the belly can breathe. And come to a Tadasana, Shavasana. So standing, but with the eyes closed. And we'll just stay a few moments here. Weight in the front of the feet. Become aware of your surroundings. Become aware of your body. And just feel. And stay in control, calm, and relaxed. When you feel ready, come to a seat. We'll come into Sukhasana, which is feet underneath the knees. And in Sukhasana, you need to kind of pull the heels a little bit towards the hips to help turn on the hamstrings, which releases the hip flexors and makes it easier for you. Now, top of the pelvis back, belly expanded, upper back expanded, chest expanded, back and front of the neck expanded. Bring the hands like you're holding the beach ball, because we're going to do our twist towards the right. Good. Now you can stay like this, or if it feels good, extend the arms like we did standing, or you can optionally bring the hands down. Now look forward, left ear lifts, chin in towards the chest. This is our finishing sequence. Lift the arms up, bring yourself back towards center. Beach ball, round spine, twist towards the left. Press the arms out, that's the back bend feeling through the spine, and option to use the hands as gentle leverage. Good. Look towards the front, right ear slightly lifted, chin in, that will save your neck. Lift the right arm, left arm, come back to center. And we'll bring the hands behind us, fingers on the floor, elbows back, shoulders down, belly relaxed, chest expanded, throat forward, chin up. This is a neck release. You need to actively pull the shoulders down as you pull the throat forward, chin up. Now keep shoulders down, neck back, chin in, and that again will release the muscles in the back of the neck. Let's do this one or two more times. Throat forward, chin up. Please exaggerate to learn like I'm doing here. Again, that will help release the neck as long as the shoulders are pulling downwards, because the muscles of the neck are also the muscles that lift the shoulders. You've got to understand nerve reflexes to understand why a lot of this stuff happens. Trust me, but there's nothing I'm teaching you here that is not without some sort of physiological, anatomical reason. Good. Relax. Keep the pelvis level. Push your belly forward and down. Start to walk the hands forward. Shoulders down towards the floor. Throat down, chin forward. If that feels comfortable, you can bring neck back, chin in like we did before. Forehead down towards the floor. Now, if you're nowhere near the floor, that's fine. If you need to be sitting up on something at this point, that's also fine. Sitting up on a bolster, a cushion, whatever. If you can't sit cross-legged, you can do this whole sequence sitting in a chair. If you're doing that, try and make sure your knees and your hips are in one line, or your knees are slightly lower than your hips. Good. Let's just do that neck thing one more time to try and get it really relaxed. Shoulders down, throat forward, chin up. Shoulders down, neck back, chin in. It's an active relaxation of the neck. We'll end with a Padma Namaskar sequence. We'll swap the cross of our legs so that we are not inducing any sort of discomfort in the knees, because you may find yourself a bit imbalanced. Top of the pelvis back, belly expanded, upper back and chest expanded. Good. Now follow these movements as best you can, but don't worry too much about the details. Back of hands together, hands through center. Lift the hands up, palms touch if comfortable. Hands wide, fingers down, throat forward, chin up. Good. Round the spine, back of hands touch in front of you once again. Bring the hands through center and rest the back of the hands on the knees, or the blade of the hands on the knees. Good. So again, we round the spine slightly, belly expanded, back of hands touch. Come through center. With the back of hands touch, now palms touch. Hands down, fingers down, throat forward, chin up. Good. Roll the shoulders in, round the spine, back of hands touch. Come through center, lower the hands onto the knees. Let's try that one more time before we try in a bit of a fluid motion. Back of hands touch. Through center, up. Throat forward, chin up. Round, back of hands. Through center. Rest on the knees. Now the idea is to make this like the Qigong movements. So follow me visually. If you get to a point where you'd feel it'd be better off if you just close your eyes and do, something similar to this, that's also fine. But this particular sequence is designed to help extend the breath because it's combining 2 inhale movements and 2 exhale movements together. I'm not asking you to breathe. I don't know if you've noticed, but at no point through this have I said breathe in, breathe out. And I'm not saying that here either, but as you do these movements, the arms up, for example, this is all in breath, and this is all out breath. But so is this, and so is this. So by extending the out breath and extending the in breath, you encourage basically the nervous system to start to really relax. Padma Namaskar sequence. Now we'll just bring the arms up. This is going to extend the breath even more. Roll the shoulders a little bit. That encourages inhalation. Bring the arms down slowly. You guessed it. This encourages exhalation. So try and keep really soft through the neck, through the belly, through the shoulders. Arms forward and up if it feels comfortable, or the hands can come straight up. Please don't arch into the lower back here. Stay neutral. Bring the arms forward and down. Really slowly. Imagine that your hands were moving through honey or something. Again, they can go straight up through center or forward and up like this without arching the lower back. And bring the palms together. Rest the hands on the knees. Leave the eyes closed. We'll just do a seated Shavasana for a few seconds. If after this practice you'd like to give yourself a proper Shavasana, you're also welcome. But it's been a calming practice in general, so many of you won't actually need it, and that might make you feel a bit lethargic. So rather just rest here, belly expanded. And take in whatever information is coming through your senses right now, but try not to analyze. Try and just observe, be curious, be interested in it. Just relax for these last few moments. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you next time. Hope you enjoyed class. Hope you're feeling good. Get a drink of water. Smile at someone. Eat some vegetables. And I look forward to seeing you again really soon.